Okay, welcome to Game Time, episode number 8 of season 1. This is the final episode. I have my brothers Brian and Brady.
Tuesday.
We're here to help basketball coaches enjoy their seasons a little more and give them some tips for their toolbox. We're going to get into the first quarter audience question. Question is, how do you deal with a team that has a huge gap in talent? So let's say the top 5 are really good. Next 5, very inexperienced.
You probably got to mix them up when you're playing together, as much as you might like to keep a certain group together to develop some continuity. It's not beneficial if you're constantly able to do whatever you want to do. So you probably need to mix things up a little bit. Maybe you also find different games within games in your drill sessions to be able to take advantage of a more competitive environment for the people at different skill levels. So if you're doing drills that involve some defensive stuff, you maybe just keep that group together so that they can compete against each other and the other ones also competing against each other. So I try and find some creative ways to make it as competitive as possible in a fair environment for everyone. But the reality is when you start trying to work on putting in some offenses and some defenses and stuff, you might have to mix them up in order to keep it a little bit competitive, at least at times.
Yeah, I like the idea of mini games. So small-sided games, practice drills. I'll put one up on the screen here, the magic of editing, where you can have 3-on-3 drives downhill, kick out to shooters, that kind of stuff where the skill level differences don't show as much and everyone can still work on their game and work on game-like scenarios. But that's a tough situation. But yeah, for 5-on-5 kind of stuff, you might have to mix it up a little more than you would want to. Okay, let's get into the second quarter. Good offense, bad defense. Brady, what do you see on this possession?
Well, I see good ball movement, but pretty slow, lazy offense. Guys just jogging around on the court, running around in circles real slow. They got the ball down in the post. Wasn't really a mismatch. It just was really lazy, poor offense, in my opinion.
I believe that good offense always beats good defense. And although maybe it looks lazy and things are moving, maybe not at the intensity you'd like, there are lots of touches and the ball is moving. And I think that if you're going to be lazy anywhere, typically it ends up being on the defensive end. And all it takes is one guy to be a bit lazy to have something happen where you can score. So if the ball is moving, even at what we're watching in this video, and it's touching as many people as it's touching in as short a period of time as it is, I like your chances to score on a relatively frequent basis anyways.
Well, we got different opinions here. All 3 of us kind of different. I thought the offense was pretty slow as well. No real attacking, getting into the paint kind of stuff. Defensively, you could say they did a good job. They made the offense 7 passes or something like that. Never really had a chance to nothing really threatening happening. Couple of back to the basket post opportunities that resulted in nothing. So I would say better defense. I don't think either one was great. Okay, now we're into halftime. This is generally where we talk about silly topics that we had in the locker room back in the day when we were playing. We've had 6 different polls up on Instagram and YouTube throughout season 1. Our first question: which way do you face the most when showering? Looks like Brady's in the slight minority on this one. This is a lot closer than I anticipated. Make sure you head over to our community tab to cast your vote. I've left a link in the description. Episode 2's question was, what comes first for you? Wetting the toothbrush or putting the toothpaste on the toothbrush? Seriously, what are we wetting the toothbrush for first? I can't bear to tell my wife this result. I've been baffled by her choice to wet the toothbrush for years. Next, when you're going up a set of stairs, do you have a preferred foot you step on the first step with? We were scattered on this one. Looks like Brian has the most common answer. Episode 4, we wanted to know which way you prefer the toilet paper roll to be put on. I just put it on however I pick it up, but clearly I'm way off on this one. Episode 5, we asked, when driving, what's the first thing you do after sitting down? Looks like most are either putting the keys in the ignition or pressing the brake. What do? Head over to our community tab to cast your vote. Episode 6, Brian shared a story about stealing and how it'll come back to bite you, even if you don't get caught in the moment. I've left a link in the description for that episode. And last episode, number 7, we went back to showering to really close the loop. Do you soap your legs every time you shower? For those keeping score at home, Brady and I have some deep soul searching to do. We were only in the majority once each on these polls. Brian was in at 3 out of 6. I blame my left-handedness. I'm not sure what Brady's issues are. Okay, now we're into the third quarter. Play of the week. We have a great 3-2 zone offense, baseline cutter, really fools the defense. Let's get to it. We're starting with 4 players low and the 2 post players stacked on the weak side post. Your point guard dribbles toward the post players to misdirect the defense and make them think that our goal is to get one of the post players the ball. The weak side wing and bottom defenders step over to help. That leaves a huge space in the corner. As your point guard is dribbling across the top of the key, your shooter runs the baseline straight for the open space and one post player flashes to the high post. Now you have a mini 3-on-2 advantage on the backside. Quick ball movement leads to an open shot. If the defender recovers quickly, then the middle will be wide open. Here's another look using my custom Coach Calls Timeout Playmaker. To get hundreds of more plays like this for your team and many other coaching resources, go to coachcallstimeout.com. All right, now we're into the fourth quarter, group discussion. Here we go, ready? How important is it to be organized as a coach? Brian.
Extremely important. Again, your players tend to be what you are. If you're going to be scattered and unorganized, they're probably going to be scattered and unorganized. To what level you need to be organized, maybe that's up for debate, but you better be organized. You better have a plan. You better have ideas when you go to practice as to what the focus and the goal is that day and what you want to accomplish. And my suggestion is that if you don't put that down on paper and you don't have some form of a time, whether it be on an actual clock people see running or on your wrist, where you got to have hard stops and move on to the next thing, typically you won't get through everything you want to. And consequently, things will appear rushed in some cases. And you'll go home and you'll be frustrated that you didn't do everything you needed to do or you didn't like how it went. So the more organized you can be, well, let's say organization is critical. You can probably be over-organized as well, but organization is critical.
Yeah, I don't think you can be successful if you're not organized in any aspect, really, in life, not just coaching. Like, you can't go into a practice without an idea of what you're going to do, how long you're going to do something and expect it to go well. Players are going to be chaotic. Things aren't going to go, nothing's going to go as you want it to. Your players aren't going to get better. Time's going to get wasted because you're sitting there wondering, what am I going to do next? What are we going to run? What are we going to do? Because you didn't have it planned. You only have so much time in the gym. You need to prep for what you've got for the time you have so that your players can get better in the time you're there.
Yeah, totally agree. If you want your players to stand around and do nothing for 3-4 minute periods, then show up without a plan. That's the easiest. If you show up with a plan, everybody's moving, everybody's constantly engaged. Practices are a lot more fun. People want to come the next day. Again, we've talked about this in the past, but we have kind of a bunch of keys to successful coaches, and it's communication, organization, adaptability, consistency, honesty, encouragement. And the last one is S, self-aware, spells coaches. You need all of those to be a successful coach to varying degrees. I mean, you don't have to be super organized, but you better come with a plan. You better show up with the balls. You better have the gym booked. You better have all that kind of stuff. It can't be second-rate organization if you're looking to run a top-level program. All right, Brady, we're done 4 quarters. This is episode number 8, final one of season 1. Your crazy stat. What do you have for us?
Another quick one today. And he has a chance to do something that's never been done before. But Pascal Siakam the other day became the second player in NBA history to start a postseason with 2 games of 35 points and 10 rebounds. Doesn't seem like a lot, but only 2 players in the history of the NBA have done it. And one of them is Wilt Chamberlain. He was the last to do it. So he's got a chance to break some records next, I think it's tomorrow when they play the Bucks.
All right, there we go. 8 episodes in the books. Thanks for watching. We appreciate everybody, all the coaches who've messaged us with questions. Brian, Brady, thanks for doing this. We'll be back for season 2.